about cryptography can make a big difference to your life. First and foremost, I want to open your eyes to the critical role that cryptography plays in supporting your everyday life. By learning what cryptography does and how it works, I believe you will acquire greater confidence in reasoning about your own personal digital security. Use of cryptography also raises wider social questions about how society should balance personal freedom with control of information, which I will also explore in this book. Cyberspace. I will not make any significant attempt to define what cyberspace is, other than to observe that anything you currently regard as being in cyberspace, for our purposes, almost certainly is. Cyberspace is electronic stuff. Cyberspace consists of computers communicating with other computers across networks. These computers include things clearly recognizable as computers, such as laptops. They also include gadgets, such as mobile phones, gaming consoles, and voice assistants, which we mostly recognize as devices capable of accessing the internet, yet do not always regard as computers. Cyberspace also consists of millions of computers we directly interact with, such as sales terminals, automatic teller machines, and passport control gates, and many we don't, such as computers that support business, defense, and industrial control systems. Perhaps most importantly, and to an extent alarmingly, many everyday devices that traditionally we don't think of as having a digital element, let alone as being computers, are rapidly becoming devices in cyberspace. These include cars, homes, and domestic appliances. The networks connecting all these devices in cyberspace can be wired or wireless, short or long range, open to all, or dedicated to specific purposes such as telecommunications. By far the most significant of these networks is the Internet. Of course, cyberspace and the physical world are not entirely different concepts. Aspects of the physical world increasingly interact with cyberspace. It is generally becoming hard to find people who do not use the Internet, businesses without an online presence, or technologies not interacting with cyberspace in some way. And most things that happen in cyberspace occur because human beings press buttons on physical devices that execute instructions on machines in physical places. Your security in cyberspace. Just for a moment, reflect on how much you depend on cyberspace. Consider how you communicate with your friends, where you get your news, and how you research your next vacation. Think about how you manage your money and how you pay for things. Don't forget how you access music, movies, and personal photographs. Did you remember to include your car? It opens its doors at the click of a button, always knows exactly where it is, reports its problems to the manufacturer, and in the future it will undoubtedly drive itself. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There's all the invisible stuff you rely on every day that just seems to happen. Planes fly, electricity powers, and traffic lights change. These days, almost everything relies on cyberspace. Because we increasingly live our lives in cyberspace, so too do criminals. Cyberspace is a wonderful place to commit crime. Freed from the tyranny of distance, cyberspace enables criminals from anywhere in the world to raid your home. It's a place of smoke and mirrors, where a teenager in a bedroom can pretend to be your bank or build a website resembling that of a major department store. Hence the endless stories in the media about security incidents involving computers, and these are just the ones we hear about. Exact figures are notoriously hard to establish, but cybersecurity firm Norton claims there were 978 million global victims of cybercrime in 2017, altogether losing $172 billion. The professional services firm PwC reported that 31% of organizations victimized by fraud were affected by cybercrime in 2016 and 2017. And the research firm Cybersecurity Ventures reckons that cybercrime will cost the global economy $6 trillion by 2021. Cyberspace is invisible, out of sight, and, too often, out of mind. Just ask the Iranian scientists at the Natanz uranium enrichment facility, whose centrifuges mysteriously started failing in 2010, or the executives at Sony Pictures who unwittingly became the stars of their own horror movie in 2014 when their internal emails, salaries, and unreleased movies were exposed to the world. We are physical beings who have evolved in a physical world in which we have a reasonable understanding of what security means: locked doors, passport controls, signed documents, etc. However, we appear to lack the equivalent common sense to operate safely in cyberspace. The invisibility of cyberspace doesn't help, but I suspect our main lack of intuition